At this time, we are waiting to hear from Board Member Rose Herrera. We hope that she will come here later. We will have a call to order at this time. And roll call.
Chair Tucker.
Here.
Board Members Wasserman.
Here.
Constantine.
Here.
Thank you. So, first item on the agenda is a report from the Public Advisory Commission. Walt Glines, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Chairman. And at the most recent implementation board meeting, Gavilan College, of which I am the president of the Board of Trustees, did receive approval for the first stage of our campus in the Coyote Valley. This is going to be the Public Safety Training Consortium that is presently at Evergreen College, and Evergreen is going to be leasing that land for a commercial development, and they've given the consortium they want us out of there by by 2016, and so this is going to be going on land we own that's across from the IBM site. Second phase is going to be an educational center and eventually a second campus for the college. And coincidentally, and so that's been 6+ years in the making to get permits, of which this agency here, it has made it happen. But it has now been 8 years and counting for permits in San Benito County, and we did receive a phone call 2 weeks ago saying that giving us verbal approval, but we're still waiting for the letter in the mail, because when you're dealing with state and federal wildlife agencies, you never know. It's kind of like dealing with the Army Corps of Engineers. Yeah. So from the Gavilan perspective, we want to thank the agency for all the work that it has done, and I think this is a great example of what the agency is about. Thank you.
Thank you, Walt.
Absolutely.
At this time, we have public comments for items not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make a statement? I don't see anything. On to consent calendar. Do I have a motion for consent?
I think we can, Madam Chair.
Yeah, we can't do anything with the consent calendar. Okay, then we will bypass item 1 and 2 and go on to regular business item 3, Ed Sullivan Employment Agreement. Ed will give us a report.
I'm going to give the report since it has to do with Ed's contract. But basically, it's when the agency hired Mr. Sullivan, they hired him on a 1-year period, which is now ending at the end of this month. So the implementation board met and reviewed his performance and entered into some negotiations, and what you have before you is a contract that reflects those negotiations. There's not a substantial change to the current contract. The main points are the term, which would be 3 years, a compensation schedule over those 3 years that's spelled out in the staff report, a small increase to the automobile allowance and to the in lieu benefits, and instead of having separate vacation, sick leave, and administrative leave, putting that all into a paid time off package.
Okay. Any questions? Yes.
Thank you. That is on. Just one question on page 109 where it talks about, it has the bullets. The first bullet says the term of the agreement is from July 1st, 2014.
And that's an error because it should be
2015?
15.
Thank you.
Sorry I didn't catch that.
That's all right.
But the contract itself has the right dates.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am. I have it right here.
So is this an informational item then?
No, we have to adopt and
We'll have to move on.
Yep.
Thank you for your report.
You're welcome.
We'll move on to item number 4, fiscal year 2015-2016 budget report.
Yes. Would you like me to give the presentation?
While we're waiting.
Sure.
stuck in traffic, she'll be here as soon as possible.
Oh, great. Excellent.
You know, when I have
Sort of like the
events in San
Calvary.
Jose in the morning, I make it on time with all the traffic.
Well,
There's not more
thank you,
traffic.
board members.
No.
So, presentation outline, just going to go over some of the same things that were talked about in the workshop. So goals and objectives for the next fiscal year, and then a summary of the proposed 15-16 budget. So the objectives are developing the financial and personnel policies, create on-call consultant lists for restoration design, species monitoring, survey, and property appraisals. That's just sort of to speed up our ability just to go from a on-call list of consultants, because we expect this to be a very robust and active tasks where we're going to have to be continuously doing property appraisals, continuously doing restoration design work and monitoring. So just to have some 5 to 6 consulting firms, maybe more, that we could choose from to do that work. So we'll be doing RFQs, requests for qualifications, this summer. Complete the land enrollment processes on the 3 public properties, Coyote Ridge, which will close escrow in November, San Jose County Parks, the Clara property, and the OSA Coyote Valley property. And this is the second 2 are part of the public land in lieu of fees program, where OSA and the county are enrolling public lands to offset land cover fees for county and OSA projects. We'll begin negotiations with the intent to acquire 1 or more properties. That's the subject of last month's closed session, and also this meeting's closed session. Execute a Burrowing Owl management agreement with the city of San Jose, and that's currently ongoing. Submit Section 6 grant for $2 million. We'll be submitting it for probably a suite of properties, and hopefully one of these deals will come through within the next 2 years, and we'll be able to use and hopefully we'll get the money. Solicit funding from other grant sources and foundations. Work with the NGO community, secure foundation monies. So we're going to submit 3 to 4 concept proposals on the local assistant grant program through the state. We'll see how those go, and then based on the feedback we get from them, then we'll submit full proposals this summer. Secure a regional general permit from the Corps. As you guys know, it's not going. Talk about this at every meeting. We're really close to completing the public sector land in lieu of fees policy. So even though we are enrolling these lands, we didn't have an official policy in place yet. We have a private land in lieu program, but we'll have the public land in lieu will go to the board in September for the board's approval. Complete the reserve system land management and monitoring plan. So for all the lands we acquire, we got to have sort of a master plan on how to manage them, and that's what this master template will be. And then each property will have their own unique twist on that plan. And then it's the Black Mountain financial accounting and tracking software integration, which our next budget next year will be presented using all that software. So the fiscal 15-16 proposed budget gives the Habitat Agency the financial resources necessary to accomplish the goals and objectives outlined above. So this is a summary of the proposed budget, where the general fund balance is projected to be a little over $4.1 million on June 30th. And of this year, and we're expecting an ending balance of next June of almost 3.1 million. And we'd be spending 1.9 million would be the appropriations. We're setting aside 10 million for acquisitions, and nearly 2 million for reserve transfers into the endowment, into the reserve sort of rainy day fund. And then for reimbursing the local governments for plan preparation fees. And you can see the estimated revenues, appropriations, and reserves, and where they would be coming out of the different funds. Potential revenue sources, essentially our fees, land cover, serpentine, nitrogen, burrowing owl, wetland, the PSE fees, and then we also have the endowment plan and preparation charge. The list of grants are the ones we expect to get funding this year. It's not, I would say those and any other potential grants, but those are the ones that we will be that we know we'll be submitting grant applications on. We might be doing things for restoration construction next year, but they wouldn't get the monies until next fiscal year. The projected revenues from the different sources. And we do have an item in here for grants. It's just a projection. Hopefully we will get 3.1 million or somewhere in that range of grants. But we're estimating revenues from fees to be over $12,062,818, with grant revenues hopefully being around 3.1 million, for a total estimated revenues of $15,162,818. The budget estimate back in January for this fiscal year was $7,335,000. The estimated actual is projected to be $6,236,560. The county closes its books officially at the end of July. The county is our financial agent, our banker, so to speak. So we will be getting fees from the various communities through July. That's what we've been told. Even though fees have been collected on a lot of projects already, they won't be remitted to us until July. And that's be a subject of my EO report and how we can tighten that up. Oh, and I'll go back here. So you can see the pie chart there and how the various revenues are broken out by source, with 35% coming from land cover and 37% coming from burrowing owl. And the 37% is coming primarily from one project in the city of San Jose. Projected appropriations. It's broken into three categories: administrative support and grant services, technical and permitting support, and conservation strategy implementation. And back in January, we thought we'd be spending about 1.7 million. The actual amount spent is going to be 1,233,525. Our budget request is for $1,908,097. And this is looking at the administrative support grant services. And the budget request back in January of this fiscal year, estimated actual, and the request for next year. The budget requested was $877,455. Estimated actual $775,375, and then we're requesting $1,033,097.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I've never looked, but I assume there's a screen up above here
It's on the sides,
that
yeah.
you're able to see. The public's able to see. Thank you.
We've got technology here.
I was going to call you and ask you that, but couldn't get through. Thank you.
You're so quick.
This is the technical permitting support, and these are where land cover fees, zone A, B, and C, and where the money would be coming from for technical plan interpretation and implementation, information management, which is primarily the county doing GIS services for us, And then waters permitting, that's the ongoing integration of 404 and 401 with the plan. And then participating special entity processing. This is conservation strategy implementation. And you can see how the money is split out. It's land enrollment reserve, wetlands restoration and creation. We're projecting it to be $260,000. Roughly a third of that will be a contract to do restoration design work on a couple wetlands in Clara Park. And then the balance of that will be to do additional restoration design work next year. So the land enrollment reserve system creation, that's enrolling the lands in the reserve system, yeah. And this is the endowment and plan prep cost reimbursement, which is $1.2 million for endowment and $120,625 for plan prep. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any questions? I don't see any.
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item number 3, unless Member Tucker has any, Member Herrera has any questions.
I'm good with that. Second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes for item number 3. How about item number 4?
So you go back to the consent calendar and item number 2, or
We'll go back to the consent calendar for item 1 and 2 together.
And then
Motion to approve the consent calendar items 1 and 2.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that motion passes. We just voted on item 3, so now we are at...
actually you voted on item 4.
He said item
No, we
3.
did 3.
3,
The
you
salary.
said 3, yeah.
Okay, 3 was his contract,
Yes.
4 was the budget. So you did 3, you
Yes.
intentionally did 3 and not the budget, even though he just finished the budget presentation.
Yes, I was just...
Okay, my bad. I just wanted,
No problem. Motion to approve item number 4.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So we are now on item 5, Executive Officer Report.
Yes. If you want.
What about
We'll go into
closed
closed
session?
session.
Oh, it's okay for closed session, just seeking direction on,
but if they want to go into closed
oh yeah, do you want to go in closed session? Sorry.
Through the chair, if I may, Madam Council, do we need a quorum in closed session to do what needs to be done?
It's not absolutely required, but it would probably be preferable. And so if you're more interested in the closed session items than in his general report, you could adjourn to closed session and then he
Okay.
can come back and give his
We'll do
general
that.
report.
We'll do that. At this time, we'll go into closed session for item conference with real property negotiating item A and B. Into the conference room. What is the estimated time?
So, Ed,
10 minutes?
Thank you.
That we gave direction to staff to continue with negotiations. That is it. We are on item 5 of our agenda.
Yes, and just give you an update on the regional general permit that we're trying to get with the U.S. Army Corps. And this is integrating the wetland permitting process, the 404 permits, with the Habitat Agency to sort of combine 2 permitting processes, which would result in streamlining of both those processes that would benefit both public and private projects. So we had a meeting with the San Francisco District staff on May 29th. We made some good progress on that meeting, but there was also some concerns. There was a comment letter that was from the San Francisco Regional Water Quality Board that was issued on June 5th, of last year, and it was not ever released to us. And we had no idea that there was a comment letter from Brian Wines of the Regional Board and his counterpart at the Central Coast Regional Board, John Rohrbach. They told us there were no comment letters on our application. So that letter went unaddressed for a year. So that came to light on May 29th. The letter was addressed June 5th of last year.
Oh my goodness.
So I got to do damage control. I'm going to call Brian Wines and John Rohrbach and apologize and explain to them what happened. We sent an email to the South Pacific Division management team saying we had no confidence in the San Francisco district to do the work, and it was stating that they've said in minutes of meetings that were during Ken Schreiber's time period, tenure, that clearly stated they didn't believe in an in lieu fee program, that they didn't believe in implementing in lieu fee programs. And really, that's the only way you can effectively implement a regional general permit. So we stated that in the email to the staff. Within 2 days, I got a call from Brigadier General Toy apologizing for process mismanagement and unacceptable delays. So on June 16th, we got a letter from Lieutenant Colonel Morrow, who is in charge of the San Francisco district. He's now been there a year, so hopefully he knows and has a better understanding of what's going on the ground with his agency, and that it's dysfunctional. So we're in the process of responding to his letter. He's asking us to essentially give them a second chance, and they're going to process our permit rapidly. We don't have a lot of confidence in that, so we're responding. We're drafting a response to his letter, and we're going to request a meeting directly with him and General Toy. Just that we need some assurances that this will be done and it will meet the needs of the co-permittees and public and private proponents of projects. And because getting this will help facilitate integration of the 401 process also with our plan. And from what I've been hearing from the city of San Jose, the 401 process is slowing up very simple routine maintenance projects that the city public works department has. Due to the aggressive regulatory process that the regional board has. So if we can work with them to simplify that and coordinate that and to streamline that, then that would help all applicants. So that's kind of where we're at. Pending the outcome of the meeting with General Toy and Colonel Morrow, I've sort of been holding off on the letter coming from the two chairs of the two boards. We'll see how that meeting goes, see if we think we have the assurances to stay in the San Francisco district and that they will effectively implement the RGP, not just issue a permit. But if not, if we don't get those assurances, we're going to ask the congressional delegation and also the local electeds to send letters to request it going to Sacramento district. I'm hoping, because there'll be a startup cost in time going to a new district office, so if we can get the assurances we need, then it probably makes more sense at this time to stay with San Francisco, but we'll wait and see.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. That's always great when you get an apology from a brigadier general. When will you be getting your response back to them, and when do you anticipate having the meeting with the general and lieutenant colonel?
Yes, I got Lieutenant Colonel Morrow responded to an email I sent him today, and he said that they could organize a meeting with us within the next few weeks. So I imagine sometime in July we can meet with the colonel and the general.
Okay, if we may give direction to staff through this agenda item, It would certainly be my desire to respond as soon as possible, set up the meeting as soon as possible. And the fact that the Colonel responded to your email today, that you sent today, that's all very encouraging. And just in my years on this and on the Pajaro River Valley water flood, dealing with the Army Corps, it seems the people in charge change every couple, 3 years. And if we could strike while the iron's hot and we've got a responsive era right now, I think do that, because extension of time, the cost to us, ultimately moving to the Southern California office or the Sacramento office or whatever, just you start this whole thing over again. I encourage you to get out your response and set up an appointment as soon as possible.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah, and I agree.
The other item is just we're starting to work on creating financial policies. And the big thing is fees are coming in when they're not. Well, the fees are being paid, and then it's taking several months for them to be remitted to us, which kind of throws a wrench in our budget planning. Fortunately, we have enough money in the bank to sort of, it's not a concern, but from that standpoint, but it's a concern from projecting end-of-year budgets, projecting new fiscal year budgets. So we're going to come to I guess it would be the governing board probably, that we would come to in September with financial policies, including saying upon receipt of a check, you need to remit it to us within 5 business days, whatever we work out, whatever is comfortable, and that with the board. And that if they're not, maybe having some built-in penalties if the money isn't remitted to the agency within a prompt period of time, because we're really struggling with budget sort of management with fees coming in 3, 4, 6 months after when the checks
That's
were
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So can I have a question? Is it built into our contract to use them as our bank? Can we go to any agency?
Oh, no, it's not the county. It's the co-permittees that's the problem. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, the county as the bank is fine. The banker, yeah.
I don't know if you want to people.
Yeah, I
don't mind.
I apologize if I didn't make that.
On the mayor of
Yeah,
Gilroy, I can take on the county.
I apologize if I didn't make that clear.
Tucker.
No, it's
Sheriff?
more.
Yeah, Cat Tucker. Thank you.
I know the sheriff.
I step on toes, but not feet.
I have no problem.
So, and many times it's not the planning departments, it's the finance departments of our partner agencies that like to hold on to the money and get interest on it, I'm assuming, or whatever's going on. So it's not good for us. I can understand how it's good for them. We also, in the process of developing an endowment financial strategy. We're going to be meeting with some potential trustees for managing our endowment over the next couple months.
Okay.
So we'll keep you abreast on that and other financial policies that we'll be developing and bringing before the board. Joe Arch, our CPA, so JJA CPA, will be helping us with developing the financial policies. The Black Mountain financial accounting and tracking software, as I mentioned, will be integrated in August with all our existing QuickBooks system, and we'll make the transition, I believe, by September 1st into the new system. Haven't started yet, but next week I'm going to work on a job description for the senior program manager position, and then we'll going to do a recruitment. We're going to work with CPS HR to help with sort of broadcasting the job out in the greater world out there to try to shake as many bushes as possible and get the best candidate here. Yep.
Okay. Any questions for? Moving on the agenda down to future governing board initiated agenda items. Does anybody have anything they want to add to the agenda for next session? I don't see any.
I just had a question,
Yes.
and it's about agenda item 2, which you already handled, but I was, and through the chair, if I may, to Mr. Sullivan, I was reading this report, and I'll read just one sentence to give you an idea of, I guess I'm asking who wrote this. I'm just interested in the technical expertise.
Yes.
And the one sentence, for instance, it said, the diverted flows eroded a swath of the hill slope and joined surface flows in the subject swale to create a head cut, which subsequently eroded headward along the axis of the swale for a distance of 150 feet. Who, is that you?
Kayla? No, it wasn't me. Kayla, if you could stand.
The late John Muir.
Oh,
Ah. Okay, thank you. I just, I had to read it a few times, but it's obvious an expertise I have no knowledge of, and I just wondered who was responsible for these reports. Thank you.
okay. Okay, then if there are no other future agendized items, we will adjourn. Our upcoming meeting is September 17th, 2015. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Here,
Good job, Madam
got to
Chair.
use it. This is a very ruly group.
Very
Between
ruly
you-
or unruly?
Unruly, I'm sorry, unruly.